Well, anti-Semitism is the hatred of Jews. Well, let me ask you, if it's anti-Semitism, that means that there's a pro-Semitism, and if there's a pro-Semitism, there is a Semitism. So, Eddie, what is a Semite?
A Semite is somebody from this area.
Is there a race of Semites? Is there a race?
No, there isn't.
That's right. There's no race of people called Semites.
Kata semit adalah sebuah kata sifat yang berasal dari nama Sem atau Sem, salah satu dari 3 putra Nuh dalam Alkitab, Kejadian 5:32, 6:10, 10:21, atau lebih tepatnya dari turunan alihaksara Yunani, yaitu Enu dibaca Sem. Dalam bentuk kata benda mengacu pada seorang yang termasuk keturunan rumpun bangsa Semit.
You know what
Semites? So unpackage that. So that's Semites. You think of people who are in this geographical location.
Actually, the precise definition is Semites are people who speak Semitic languages.
Yeah, there you go. From this area who speak this specific language. So an Arab.
Well, guess what?
Arabic
is Semitic.
Rumpun bahasa Semit. Rumpun ini meliputi bentuk bahasa-bahasa kuno dan modern, yaitu Ahlamu, Akadia, Assyria, Babilonia, Amharik, Amori, Arab, Aram, Suryani, Suria, Kanaan, Fenisia, Kartago, Kasdim, Ebla, Edom, GS, Ibrani, Malta, Mandaik, Moab, Sutean, Tigre dan Tigrinya, serta Ugarit,
an
dan
Arab
sebagainya.
is a Semite, is anyone from this area. Palestinians a Semite, correct?
Yes. So
Yeah.
Arabic is a Semitic language. There's approximately 30 Semitic languages. So when they call me anti-Semitic, does that mean I hate people that speak Semitic languages?
Huh?
See, it's a propaganda term.
Antisemit adalah suatu sikap permusuhan, kebencian atau rasisme terhadap orang Yahudi sebagai kelompok ras, agama, dan etnis, yaitu permusuhan terhadap Yahudi dan faham, yudaisme. Wartawan Jerman Yahudi, Wilhelm Marr, adalah orang pertama yang menggunakan istilah ini pada 1879 dalam bukunya, The Victory of Judaism over German from a Non-Religious Perspective. Ini untuk menggambarkan gelombang permusuhan terhadap Yahudi di Sentral Eropa pada pertengahan abad ke-19. Buku itu diterbitkan setelah Perang Prancis-Prusia, tahun 1870 sampai tahun 1871, menyebabkan kehancuran banyak pemodal Jerman yang menyalahkan Yahudi.
So we shouldn't even participate in it. It's a propaganda term that was created to confuse people. There's no such thing as a Semitic race. There are Semitic languages, and Aramaic is a Semitic language. There are 30 plus languages that are called Semitic, but there's no such thing as a Semitic race of people. But they want you to believe that if they call you anti-Semitic, that you're against a race of people. Well, bring me out a Semite. Show me a Semite.
Jadi kalaupun mau dipaksakan menyebut bangsa atau ras Semit di era modern saat ini, maka hal itu mencakup suku bangsa di negara apa saja. Ras Semit di era modern saat ini diantaranya mencakup bangsa-bangsa Irak, Iran, Suriah, Lebanon, Palestina, Yordania, Saudi Arabia, Yaman, Mesir, Sudan, Somalia, dan sebagian negara di Afrika Utara. Apakah istilah antisemit di era modern saat ini telah bertransformasi menjadi anti terhadap keseluruhan ras Semit yang mencakup bangsa dan negara Irak, Iran, Suriah, Lebanon, Palestina, Yordania, Saudi Arabia, Yaman, Mesir, Sudan, Somalia, dan sebagian negara di Afrika Utara.
I like to see one because they can't produce it. But you challenge them on it, and they'll shut up because they know you figured it out.
Apa itu Zionisme dan apa tujuannya? Zionisme merupakan sebuah gerakan politik yang diciptakan oleh orang-orang Yahudi, dengan agenda utamanya menghimpun orang-orang Yahudi yang telah berdiaspora sejak ribuan tahun untuk kembali ke tanah Palestina.
I don't know if you know that modern Hebrew is a reconstructed language. The Zionists it's been so many thousands of years since anybody spoke Hebrew that nobody in the modern day knew what it sounded like. They had the writings, they knew what it looked like, but they didn't know what it sounded like.
Bahasa Ibrani hampir punah sebagai bahasa yang dituturkan pada abad kuno, namun terus digunakan sebagai bahasa liturgi yudaisme dan bahasa sastra, serta hanya dipakai untuk mempelajari Alkitab dan Misna saja. Tetapi pada akhir abad ke-19 dan permulaan abad ke-20, bahasa ini lahir kembali menjadi sebuah bahasa sejati dengan para penuturnya. Bahasa ini lalu menggantikan bahasa Arab, bahasa Ladino, bahasa Yiddish dan lain sebagainya sebagai bahasa utama kaum Yahudi sedunia dan di negara Israel kemudian hari. Secara kultural, bahasa ini dianggap sebagai bahasa orang Yahudi, meskipun bahasa ini juga dipergunakan oleh kelompok-kelompok non-Yahudi, seperti orang Samaria.
So the Zionists reconstructed the language and made it up. I mean, for all we know, they're speaking Klingon. They don't know. These people that are speaking Hebrew have no idea if that's Hebrew. They don't know. They made it up. The state of Israel is made up. It's a made up. You've got European, white, Caucasian Europeans who practice Judaism. Who moved to Palestine and displaced the indigenous native Palestinian people. The Israelis are white European colonizers. Now, they practice Judaism, but their race is not, they're not from.
Jadi penganut yudaisme tersebut bukanlah ras Yahudi yang berasal dari ranji garis keturunan Nabi Ibrahim, Ishak, hingga Nabi Daud, Sulaiman, hingga Nabi Isa. Sebagaimana kisah dalam kitab Taurat.
Look at their skin color, Eddie. Do they look like an Arab? Do they look like a Palestinian? Do they look like the people that live in Palestine? They look like white Europeans. And the reason is they are descendants of the Khazarians.
Bangsa Khazar, bahasa Ibrani, Khuzari, jamak, Khuzarim, adalah orang-orang Turkik setengah nomaden dari Asia Tengah. Banyak di antara mereka telah memeluk Yudaisme sejak dulu kala. Nama, Khazar, tampaknya berkaitan dengan kata kerja bahasa Turkik yang berarti mengembara. Pada abad ke-7 Masehi mereka mendirikan sebuah khaganat yang mandiri di Kaukasus Utara di sepanjang Laut Kaspia, dan di sana lambat laun Yudaisme menjadi agama negara.
Khazar, which was an ancient European country. And the king converted to Judaism, and he forced the entire country to officially become Jews. But they were not racially Jews. They adopted Judaism. Khazaria disappeared. But guess what? If you had a map of the old Khazaria Empire and you laid it over top a modern map, guess what country is inside of it? There was talk 10 years ago that the Israelis would abandon Palestine and relocate in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Zelensky, a Zionist.
All of that in mind, our question seems so binary now, doesn't it? Should Jews support the Ukrainian cause? It assumes that Ukrainians were good or bad, positive or negative. It flattens a millennium of time and millions of people into a nice black and white box. Jews, however, are used to complexity. In a time of increasingly black and white thinking, a Jew could proudly stand up and shout, "It's not so simple." The truth is that Jewish life in Ukraine was complex. The terrible moments are necessary to acknowledge and learn from. Early Ukrainian Zionists knew that. That's one of the reasons they created the Jewish state of Israel, as protection against the cycles of anti-Semitism that flare up in the diaspora. But the good times must be acknowledged too. And maybe that's why so many Jews return to Uman to spend a month praying at the sites of their holiest rabbis, like Rebbe Nachman, who, you guessed it, is buried in Ukraine. Here's how I try to think about it. As a Jewish person, you could be aware of the tragedies of your history within a nation. You could come to terms with them and still continue to hold Jewish oppressors accountable. And as a Jew, you can still support that nation in its fight against oppression and unprovoked war.
How did he become the president of Ukraine? You've got two wars right now being run by Zionists. And America's financing both of them. Is Ukraine being depopulated? Are they depopulating Ukraine to make room for a transplant of Zionists from Palestine to Ukraine? When I first heard this idea, I thought it was so far out it couldn't be real. But now I think there's a real high likelihood this is happening. The Zionists cannot survive this war in the Middle East. They can't survive this. Now, they may win. They may win the war, but they can't survive. Here's why I'm saying this. For them to win, they have to be so brutal, so savage, that the whole world will see them killing millions of people, including children. The world will turn against them. They will be hated. If they carry out their agenda, they will be hated around the world. They know it. What's happening, Eddie, is the West, which is primarily the United States and Israel, are in this war, and they have to win. It's not about Gaza. It's not about Hamas. It's now about the domination of Zionism. And if they lose, America becomes a third world nation, and Zionism is put out of business. If they win, all of humanity will become Palestinians, and the world will become a refugee camp. It's all or nothing. I'm thinking it's more like 1 billion people could die in this war. We don't know who's going to make it, who's going to survive. But if your soul is right with Almighty God, That's the only thing that matters.